In a peaceful village in Europe, surrounded by green meadows and gently rolling fields, stood a few small cottages. There lived a poor laborer named Thomas. Every morning at dawn, he would take his hoe and basket and head out. From the slopes of the hills, he would dig up soil and load it onto his donkey to take to the city market. That soil was his livelihood. Thomas's life was full of struggle. The roof of his house leaked when it rained, and in winter he barely had enough firewood to keep warm. Yet he worked diligently, for he believed that honesty and hard work were the greatest treasures a person could have. One chilly autumn morning, as Thomas was digging the earth, he suddenly heard a metallic sound. Curious, he looked down and spotted a peculiar stone. As he brushed away the layers of soil, a dazzling light emerged. The stone seemed to glow like fire. Thomas held it in his hands for a long while. It seemed to him that it was just an ordinary shiny stone with no special value. So, smiling, he tied it around his donkey's neck as an ornament. The next day, as he walked through the market, everyone stared in astonishment. Children whispered among themselves, "What a sparkling stone!" But Thomas paid no attention. Just then, a wealthy shopkeeper noticed the stone. Surprised, he asked, "Thomas, where did you find that thing hanging around your donkey's neck?" With a calm smile, Thomas replied, "I found it while digging soil. It looked nice, so I tied it to my donkey." The shopkeeper said, "If you give it to me, I will give you 50 euros. Thomas paused. 50 euros? That was more than a week's wage for him. He thought, if I can get this much for a simple stone, why not? And with joy, he handed it over to the shopkeeper. The shopkeeper hung the stone in his store's display. As the light hit it, it shone even brighter. Customers came and stared in admiration. Some said, "It looks like a jewel from a royal crown." The shopkeeper felt a quiet pride in his heart. A few days later, a famous jeweler came to town. His eyes widened when he saw the stone. A voice inside him whispered, "This is no ordinary stone. It's a priceless diamond." He asked the shopkeeper, "If I want to buy it, how much will you charge?" The shopkeeper replied, "Not less than 100 euros. The jeweler, being a cunning man, thought to himself, "I'll come tomorrow and bargain it down to 80 euros. So he left for the day. But fate had other plans. That very night, another jeweler was passing by the village when his car broke down. Coming into the shop for repairs, his eyes fell on the hanging stone. From the first glance, he realized it was a priceless diamond. Without delay, he said, "I'll give you 100 euros. Give it to me now." The shopkeeper happily sold it on the spot. The next morning, the first jeweler returned to the shop. "Where's the stone?" he demanded. The shopkeeper calmly replied, "Someone bought it last night for 100 euros. The jeweler burst into anger. "Don't you understand? That was a priceless diamond. You sold it for so little." The shopkeeper smiled and said, "Yes, I may not have realized its true value, but you knew, yet bargained it down. So tell me, who was the fool, me or you?" The story spread throughout the village. People realized that opportunities do not come every day. Sometimes the very chance in front of you is as precious as a diamond. Some fail to recognize it, while others lose it due to greed or hesitation. Thomas never knew that he once held a priceless treasure in his hands. And the jeweler, who knew its value but hesitated, lost a golden opportunity. The lesson of life is clear. When a valuable opportunity presents itself, recognize it. Hesitate, and fate may hand it to someone else.